Hey, this is Syd with Table Talk with Syd features. I'm with Dawni Angel, the Practical Mystic, and Jody, the Erotic Life. We're here to have the discussion on value. This discussion on value, I love it because Jody is fired up this morning, which makes for a great topic. But value is an interesting thing, and we were discussing before coming on here that a lot of value is based around how you value yourself. What kind of quote-unquote price tag, I guess you could say, that you place upon yourself, because those who have the same value in you step up. They see the value, they mingle with you, and that's why if you look around, there's a different clientele, whether you're looking at, I'm just going to say some names, like Nordstrom's versus Walmart versus Target, right? All these different stores, they have a definite clientele to them. And I think that's part of the secret is understanding yourself, understanding, if we're talking business, who your clientele is. Because if you look at like Domino's versus Little Caesars versus we have here the pie, right? It's all a variation of clientele. However, they're very clear on who their clientele is. And that clientele, if it's someone like the pie, for example, that clientele is willing to pay a certain dollar amount. There's people but look at how successful Little Caesars is, for example, and they have a certain clientele. And so I do think this discussion on value is important, and I think it's quite direct. It really can direct your life, and it can give you a moment to step back and really look at how you view yourself. Who is it you want to attract to you? Who is it that you have an interest in? And then that is a great guideline on what you're doing as a businesswoman or as an individual to create more of those type of people coming to you. So, Jody, tell me today, you were telling us your frustrations about value. So go ahead and share that, and let's toss that around.
Well, it's just, this came about this morning because I got up earlier than normal to get ready, yet everything was getting in my way. And part of it was like messages from people that have been kind of stringing along with whether they were going to work with me or not. And sometimes, people say, when I tell them my pricing, they're like, wow, that's expensive. And they have no idea the work that goes into what I do. There's nobody around here that does what I do.
Right.
And there's a lot of work involved in it. And so this irritation this morning, I just said, I've been toying around raising my prices for a long time, but this morning I just said, that's it. I'm done. I'm raising my price because I can't toy around with people that aren't absolutely committed in the work that I do. It takes me too much time and effort, and I don't have time to play around with people that aren't dead serious about it. So it was like an energetic shift this morning and just saying, okay, I'm done. My prices are raised. Mm-hmm. So it's just really cool to have made that shift. But interestingly, I wasn't thinking about this before, but somebody yesterday was talking about how money in their bank account. They always felt like if they had $20 left, they were okay. And as they started to raise that incrementally, all of a sudden everything expanded around them. And so now it's like if they don't have like $2,000 in their bank account, then it's not okay. But everything is expanding around them. And so, and that wasn't even in my thought process when this morning I just said, I'm done. I'm raising my price. But it's just, I can just already feel just an energetic shift in that, you know what, no more. My value is raised. Mm-hmm. And so.
That's interesting. I really like that outlook, especially mm-hmm. that visual of the bank account. Mm-hmm. I think that's powerful. A lot of people can connect with that. And it is true. As you expect more or want more or wish for more or drive for more is created around you. So, Dawni, I'm interested to hear from you. I'd like to know your outlook on what is it out in the community and out in society that causes people to look for free, to look for something that maybe is lower in quality so they don't have to pay as much. that kind of thing.
I think it's habit, honestly. I think that that's the way a lot of them are raised, to be very frugal and to, value a dollar. And I think the intention behind it is an honorable one. However, what it does is it puts a cap on how much abundance they can even accept. If there's a context is decisive. And if the context is there's barely enough to go around.
So lack of mentality.
Totally lack mentality. So we've got to fight for it. This has been very frustrating for me. So I've been a professional photographer for now 23 years. And when digital cameras came out, everyone thought they were a photographer. And people would say, well, I can get, they'd say, oh, how much for you to do my family pictures? Oh, it's $150. Well, I can get my neighbor to do it for $30. And every time I'd say the exact same thing. Then go ahead and do that. Let me know how that goes. Yeah. And I wouldn't even say it in a snarky way. Let me know how that goes. I cannot even tell you how many people would do that, pay their neighbor $30 to take their pictures, and then call me. Yeah. And still pay the $150. Now they've just paid an extra $30 and gotten ready for pictures twice, which is a pain. Right. I love, Syd, what you were talking about with you're basically speaking to the brand, right? With Little Caesars and Domino's and Walmart and Nordstrom. For me, in my business, I've been very honest with myself. Who are the people that I desire to work with? Right. My prices in my coaching business, in my practical mystic business, which, I say coaching, I really call myself the psychic therapist. I need to put that on my cards because that's really what I am. People come to me the way you come to a therapist. Complete, safe, open space, and I use I did 4 years formal training in life coaching along with my psychic abilities to help, them to feel better. My prices are lower than anybody out there, and I've been doing it for a long time. However, that's a conscious decision because who I, right this minute in my life, most want to work with are everyday people. Kind of like most of my clients are kind of like the working man, right? They a lot of them live paycheck to paycheck.
Would you classify that as more blue collar?
Yeah, some of them. I really do have clients. I have quite a few of those, and I have clients kind of across the board. But what I've realized is I've kept my prices. It's $75 a session. And almost anyone can afford to come see me. And to some of my clients, $75 is a stretch.
Sure.
If you're living paycheck to paycheck, right?
Yeah, it's a conscious decision.
But I have chosen to stay at those prices for a while because those are the people I most want to work with. And it's almost like a calling in a way. And so I never judge people according to their prices. I never think, oh, they don't value themselves. But I totally see what Jody's talking about. Because certainly for any good coach of any kind, you're putting so much effort into it before and after. The research pieces, I'm constantly working on myself, constantly studying, growing and expanding. I study, my craft for several hours every single day. And it's really a way of life for me. So the value is sometimes more than just the fiscal amount. For me, it's how I'm treated, how I'm seen, whether they take it seriously or not. When I really feel undervalued is when someone will come and argue with me the whole time or just act disrespectfully or, Jody, as you pointed out, that's stringing you along, trying to get free sessions. Almost every coach I know deals with this. Oh, hey, let's go to coffee. Yeah. Let's go to lunch. And what they really want, right, is a free coaching session. Oh, yeah. And so that's to me more where we, I shouldn't say more, but on top of the financial piece of it, we hold our value by knowing what it is we have to offer and being conscious about who it is that we desire to work with.
Absolutely. And dealing with this word and this this idea of value, I think on the other end of it, so many people are so busy looking at what they don't want, what they can't afford, what they are afraid of, what they've been frustrated of in the past, that they make decisions based upon everything, the lack of what they don't want. And so then they start searching for quote unquote help or support or guidance based upon what they don't want. Well, if you're looking for things based upon what you don't want, you're never going to find what you do want. Right?
Oh, absolutely. That's like telling a travel agent, hey, I don't want to go to Florida. And they're like, well, where do you want to go?
Exactly.
Well, not Tucson. Okay, that's great. But where do you want to go? You never get there.
Exactly. And so I think that's powerful to know too, because on the other end of it, so if they're coming to someone like Jody for her services and what she does, they're busy looking at what they don't want instead of looking at what you offer, what they do want. What do I get for that price? What is it that I'm actually going to be gifted? Because if you look at things that way, it's not a cost, right? It's not a price. It's a gift someone's giving you. It's a gift you're getting.
Well, and it's an investment in
Absolutely.
yourself. It really is an investment. I mean, not to toot my own horn. Honestly, I don't know how many marriages I've saved. Mm-hmm. I can think right off the top of my head. I can think of about 20 marriages that I have saved. Mm-hmm. And it's okay, how much would that divorce have cost you?
Right. Yeah. You could just pay it right here.
I mean, for such a small investment, maybe they came and saw me for, 4 sessions or something. And so you think about that, what is that, $300 or something? Okay, you've got to look at it. What are you even trying to do? And I'm not just talking about with coaching. Anything you're doing. When I bought my car, for instance, what is the value in that car for me? The fact that it's completely dependable. I've had it for 3 years and never had to think about it. The fact that it hauls all my stuff around when I'm teaching and doing retreats. The fact that it's fantastic in the snow and I have peace of mind driving my children around.
Right.
That value, you've got to be willing to look at what it is you're receiving back, what it is you're investing, instead of just seeing it as, oh, I have to, like a burden.
Correct.
Right? But to see it, like you said, Syd, as a gift or as a blessing in what you're receiving in return for your investment.
Absolutely.
You made a good point, though, is when you said investing in yourself. What better thing is there to invest in? Mm-hmm. If you're not investing in yourself, and that's something that is interesting about this culture right here in Utah, is that people don't understand about investing.
They feel guilty.
Themselves.
They
That's
feel
correct.
selfish and guilty for investing, and yet what do you have to give then? Your tank is empty. Mm-hmm. You have nothing to give. When people hear that I get a massage minimum 2 times a month, and get my pedicure every month, I would never be able to do that. So it's the best money I spend.
Yeah.
There's just no question about it. That's what makes it so I'm functional. And I'm okay to then, especially with my clients, because my client sits across from me, I've got to be 100% there and 100% my tank filled. Mm-hmm. Right. I'm not of service to anybody if I'm not okay. Right. So absolutely, Jody, that idea of
and I think that yourself. Visual that you brought up about cars, because if you look at all different types of cars, right, from the BMW, the Mercedes, to the Toyota, to the Honda, on down. So, because I really do love this part of life and business is that marketing thing, right? If you go look at the big boy, they have really done their research on who they are marketing to.
Absolutely.
And that's why, whether it's Ford or whomever, they have their everyday kind of blue collar kind of car, but then they've taken and rebranded, given it a slightly different name so that they can make that high-end car, right? But you're really still buying from the same company. And then they've rebranded and done another car that sits just a little below for the little teeny boppers or the new beginners, And everyone thinks they're buying just from a certain car type, whether it's Kia, what is that, Kia? Is that how you say it? I don't know. Well, it's irrelevant. Yeah. Whether it's a smaller end of a Toyota. But they were very brilliant because what they're doing is they're very direct in who they're branding to, who they're marketing to, and then they've made names, right, even logos, the look of the car, the drive of the car to fit the clientele.
Absolutely, that appeals. I have a joke that if I was a car, if me as a car, I would be my car. Right?
Yes.
I drive a Honda CR-V. I love every single thing about my car. The dealership called me and they said, hey, we're just wondering if you want to bring that in and come trade it in. You would have thought they'd asked if I wanted to trade in my child. I was so offended at the call. I was like, I'm sorry. No. I love my car. And they're like, well, you.
And they're like, no, we didn't call for the full
car. But that's exactly what I'm talking to. It's that clarity of knowing this is what I'm after, this is what I want to receive back, and this is what I'm willing to pay for it.
Right, right.
And I'm someone who is willing to pay to get what I want. I actually have a rule for myself as far as value goes. And it's that I will not charge more for anything I do than I have paid to do something similar. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, I do retreats. Right? And I did a retreat in Sedona, and it was a 6-day retreat, and it was $12.95. And I was like, absolutely, I can charge $12.95 for the 6-day retreat. I have paid that same amount to go to a retreat. If I haven't, I actually feel like there's something sort of out of alignment for me. To me, a lot of value is what am I willing to put into it? Mm-hmm. You know, so there's some, you can always tell when someone is overcharging.
Oh, yeah. You can feel it in the air.
You can feel it. You can feel that they've kind of maybe gotten a little too big for their britches and are just trying to fool people. And you can tell when the actual value is really there.
Right.
So part of it is energetic. Value is energetic. Sure. You're putting it out a certain energy, and it either says, like, this is what I'm about, respect me, treat me like this is how I treat myself. You know, that's, too, the respect piece of value is huge for me. Mm-hmm. Absolutely huge. And what I've noticed is, just like clients who aren't willing to pay, if they're not willing to be respectful, whether it's clients or friends or even family member, it's not worth it to me.
Right.
It's not worth it.
I like that you're transitioning this way because we were talking also about personal value. And that's something that it came up for me recently. I felt like somebody was disrespecting me. Mm. And in my circle, okay, this is a pet peeve that I have, is women out there bitching about there are no good men.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I hate that.
I don't like it either.
I don't like it either.
Because for me, I set a standard of this is how I'm going to be treated. And I have the most incredible men in my world. And so it makes me think, okay, how are you valuing yourself if you think there are no good men out there? Where's your personal value? Well, I get treated so respectful by men and other people because that's my personal value.
You wouldn't put up with it.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, I actually have used this example when I'm teaching before, when I said, I want you to think about this. Would you tell your grandma to F off?
Right.
Not in a million years, because your grandma is deserving of respect and has shown you that in hundreds and thousands of ways throughout your life. But it's up to us to set that standard, and it's up to us to say, I'm going to have to let this relationship go because there is no value here. I do not feel any value here. But that's our job. Exactly. When so many people that come to me for sessions, a lot of them are in situations where they're overgiving. Mm-hmm. Whether it's in a relationship with their children, I see it so much here with their children.
Yes.
Oh my word, like grown children.
Absolutely.
And they're just overgiving, and I say, well, honey, that's your job. Your job is to not overgive.
Right.
Your job is to know your value and hold your value.
That's correct.
And then you give exactly as much as you feel like you can give and be okay, and not a bit more. And if you do, that's on you. And it's not a judgment. It's just it's a life lesson.
Absolutely.
And I guarantee the three of us in this room have learned it the hard way. Overgiving, burning out, having nothing left.
Yeah.
You know.
That's what we women do.
That's so funny. But you know what's interesting with that is, I use this in my 20 years of choreography, I wear these boots everywhere. And sort of the visual is these boots may be great for most every place I go, because I wear them just in case. It's so silly. In my head, I go, well, what if I need to do choreography? Like, maybe I might be at Smith's.
And all of a sudden,
and I need to do choreography. I need to have my boots on. Okay, so I wear my boots everywhere. Well, some days, you know, if there's a red carpet event or something, I might actually have to put heels on. Or boots, you know, like different kind of boots when it's snowing. But it doesn't make any of my shoes less valuable. It makes them all valuable. It's just that they have a certain gig. They have a certain direction, a certain purpose. So trying to get someone to meet all of my needs, right? Whether it's a man or a woman or a girlfriend or whatever, they're never going to meet all my needs because some of my girlfriends are shoppers. Oh, they love to shop frickin' $2,500 for pillows on yourself. That's not realistic.
I have those friends too.
And then you have the ones that play the sports and the soccer, and then you have the mommies. You know what I'm saying? And none of those women are going to fill all of my needs. So I go to the ones that like to do lunch when I want to do lunch. I go to the ones that like to shop when I want to shop. So I think that's also important. People are looking for everybody to meet all of their needs. Because you were going to say something.
Well, and they're
that,
also holding people in more value than others, and that's not what we're speaking to. We're not saying, hey, this person is more valuable than this person. Or even, hey, this car is more valuable than this car.
Correct.
There are cars I would love to have in certain weathers or in certain situations.
Right.
That, I mean, there are times when a big old Ford truck with some great tires is going to be better for you than any Porsche on the road.
Like when
in a snowstorm.
When the guy cuts you off and you don't care and you'd rather bash him.
Like that, Sid, exactly.
And you don't care that your front bumper falls off. Doesn't matter to me.
Like that moment.
That reminds me of the scene in Fried Green Tomatoes where she smashes that cute little sports car again and again and again.
Fabulous.
And she said, I'm older and I've got more insurance.
It was fabulous, wasn't it?
Yes.
You just sat and smiled.
But this is, I feel like one of the keys to value, to knowing and holding our own value, and also to being good investors out in the world, is to be clear.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Clarity is the key here, because what are you trying to get? Mm-hmm. There are times, I'll just laugh because I'll tell you what, if there was a pastry and coffee delivery service in my area, I would just hand them my credit card number and they could bill me once a month, and it would be like, I would just put it on my budget.
Yes.
Because there are times when I would pay so much. I'd pay $20 for a donut and a coffee. You know? But that's the thing is, because at that moment, that's where the value is. Right. So this isn't a conversation about less than or more than.
Correct.
This is a conversation about clarity. This is a conversation about knowing who it is you want to work with, who it is you want to interact with, and what you're willing to give. Not just in money, but in time, in effort. You guys know as well as I do, there are people you can go to lunch with and you know you're going to come back enriched. Mm-hmm. It's worth that 2 hours out of your busy day because it's going to feed you. It's going to nourish you. Right. And there are other people that you're like, to go to lunch with this person, I need to get paid.
Correct.
You know, that is so interesting that you brought that up, because I didn't mean to do this in a mean way. But the other day, this woman said, "Can I talk to you?" And I had to say to her, "I'm not here to be your friend. I'm not looking for drama in my life, and that's what you bring. I'm sorry. I hope things are okay for you, but I'm not willing to have that drama in my life." And that was a brutal conversation. Mm-hmm. But I just knew, for my own peace of mind, I had to tell this person, no, it's not happening.
I've
setting boundaries. I think that's beautiful.
I've had to say to people, you know, if we're going to talk about this, let's set up a session.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Let's just go ahead and set up a session, because again, what they want, the free coaching. But that's again up to us, because we know if we spend 2 hours on the phone with that person, that we're going to resent it. Mm-hmm. That we're going to probably I get a headache. I don't know. It's like this martyr headache is what I call it. I get the martyr headache. I'm like, hey, wow, I recognize that's on me. Next time, and I always just say, hey, loving note to self, next time, set up a session.
Yeah. And that is setting boundaries, because that's, with value comes setting boundaries, because very few people, yes. Many people struggle with setting boundaries.
Yes.
And then they wonder why people behave or treat them a certain way. And you don't have to be rude when you set boundaries. You don't have to be abrasive. You simply just have to use words and communicate. And I say this, I just had a client, and she's one of those yes women. Yes, yes, yes. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't want to hurt anyone. And I said to her, listen, you can still say yes, and you can say no without really saying it, but letting people know that you're in the driver's seat right now. So, for example, Dawni, I would absolutely love to help you. I can do that at 2 o'clock tomorrow. You want to set up a session? We can do that. Instead, what she does when she gets bombarded, she takes it all in, right? Helping this person, helping that person. And I said, what you've done is you've made yourself a victim.
Yep.
Instead of setting your boundaries and saying, I would love to help you. Here's the time I can help you, 2 o'clock tomorrow. And now it's in their court. They can decide, no, that's not going to work. I don't want to set up a session. Great.
I have a filter in place for this because I dealt with it so much. And my filter is I ask myself, what can I do here that I will not resent at all? Mm-hmm. So and sometimes that's as simple as, I do with my daughter's school. They want help with a big Christmas party. Okay, here's $10. That's what I can do here without resenting at all. I love to throw money at things. Mm-hmm. And it works. It works. Because I'm at a point in my life where my time is more valuable than money. In my 20s, I was all about the time, right? So it's, again, neither one is of more value necessarily, intrinsically.
Right.
But to me right now in my life. And so I always just, this friend needs help. You know what I can do? I can do a 10-minute phone call.
Correct.
And I'm very clear about that. When I call, I say, okay, I've got 10 minutes. Talk to me. Mm-hmm. I know up front what it is I'm able to give without resenting it. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, like in your situation the other day, Jody, sometimes it's really nothing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I know that that's a situation that will not serve. That's a zero. And if it will not serve you, and this is a really important point, it's not going to serve them.
Well, I knew it would be one that would be a disservice to me because this woman was in such drama that all it would have done is drag me down.
Well, exactly.
And I just had to say, no, I will not allow this in my life.
And how do we serve people when we're coming at it with resentment? If you think about if you're on the other side of that, would you want a friend to do something for you and then resent you for it?
Right.
Please don't.
Exactly.
We are not doing anyone a service when we play the martyr because we're putting that energy on them as well.
Yeah, so I think what this discussion has come to, and I think it's beautiful, is learning to set your boundaries, clarity in life, because, it's like getting in your car and having no idea where you're going. You're just going to drive around crazy.
Clarity for personal worth, I think, is even better.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And having that value on yourself, knowing what your clientele is, who your clientele is, how they work, all of those kind of things, so that you're clear and they receive it clearly so that they are then intrigued, right, to come your way. I think this whole thing, and I love that you brought up, Dawni, that it's not about who's more valuable or less valuable. It is absolutely, however, finding and being clear on your own values so that you can portray that and share that clearly, and also setting boundaries. There's ways that you can still give of yourself, of your time, of your talents, without saying no, but by kind of being in the driver's seat, saying, well, I can give you $10 for that project.
Here's what I can do.
Correct. I can meet with you tomorrow at 2 o'clock, or whatever that is. So is there anything else you guys want to throw out there before we're done?
I would just say that. I would just say throughout these next couple of days, it's Christmas, it's the holidays, there are going to be a lot going on. Just be really cognizant about what it is that you can do. How filled is your tank? And, put yourself first. That's the only way that you're of any use to this planet at all. So know your value and hold your value. That's what I would say.
That's the best gift that you can give yourself this season.
Amen, sister.
Okay, well, when you're out in the world, fall down, stand up, brush off, and move on. Talk to you.